What up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing you the weekly wrestling and review for May. No, not May, June 4th. And this week in wrestling, it was pretty good. There's no pay-per-views to review, so I'm just doing the TV shows Impact, Raw, Smackdown. If you're new to this series, this is where I review everything in wrestling, news, the TV shows, and yeah, a bunch of stuff. The gameplay you're watching is some TNA Impact, the video game. This game's about 4 years old, 4 years old. And it's an Ultimate X match with Jay Lethal, Booker T, and AJ Styles. So now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the review. First, we got Raw. Raw was really good. It had a lot of wrestling, which you don't see normally on Raw. It's more SmackDown thing, more wrestling. But it was just cool to see wrestling on Raw. It started out with a bit of some trouble. They did Raw in Omaha, Nebraska, and apparently there was a big storm, and it threw out the power. I don't know, but the cable feed got cut a couple times in the beginning. The microphones didn't work. But it started out with R-Truth destroying a merchandise stand. And then he starts to walk through the crowd. And he sees his family. And he pretty much just antagonizes them. And then he finally gets in the ring. And Cena comes out. And Cena's like, "Yo, what you doing?" He's like, "I'm not doing anything." And he says he's crazy, and R-Truth was like, "No, I'm not crazy. The fans are crazy." They talk a little bit more, and then the general manager sends an email, and he pretty much just says, "You guys are gonna have a match tonight." Blah blah blah. So that's cool. First match, we got Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. This was a really good match. They went about 12 minutes, and yeah, I'm glad they had time to wrestle. Dolph Ziggler changed his look he changed it from the long blonde to the short black, and now he dyed it back to blonde, so that's cool to see, that he's going back to his original look. But Dolph ends up winning the match, and yeah, it was just a really good match. Next we have Del Rio. He comes out, and he brags about taking out Big Show. And then the Bellas versus Kelly. The Bellas versus Kelly and Eve was next, and it was okay. A typical Divas match. Even Kelly win. And then we have Michael Cole, who comes out to interview Alex Riley. Alex Riley comes out with some bitchin' theme music. Like, this is some awesome theme music. They haven't released the full thing that I'm aware of, but you can check out the little sample. If you go on YouTube, just type in Alex Riley new theme, and you can listen to it. I love it. I haven't loved an intro song in a while, and it's not a generic beat like da-da-da-doo-doo, something like that. I think it's an actual song, so it awesome theme music. So Cole, he's like, "Yo, how could you do this to the Miz? You know, Miz treated you so good." And Riley's just like it was easy to do, you know. Miz wouldn't be anything without me. And then Michael Cole calls him a bastard, and it was funny because he took a while to say bastard. He looked all around like, "Do I have the okay to say bastard?" Okay, he's a bastard. That was kind of funny. So Alex Riley shoves down Michael Cole. Miz comes out in a gay-ass looking pink shirt. Looked horrible on TV. Fucking horrible. And Miz jumps Alex Riley, and Alex Riley, he fucking pulls a John Cena and just hypes up and fucking takes out the Miz. So that was whatever. Then we had Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. Whenever you have these two guys in a match, they're gonna have an amazing match, and that's what they had on Raw. Punk won. Good to see. Get him on a little bit of a winning streak. Maybe some world title shots in the future. Next we have Karma. She came out. She cut her promo. This was better than I expected. I really didn't know what to expect. Awesome Kong hasn't really cut a promo. I have never heard her cut a promo, but she did a good one here. She talks about how it's always her dream to be a WWE superstar. She talks about wrestling in Japan and all over the world, and how Jim Ross wouldn't recruit her because she's a bigger woman. And yeah, she just poured her heart out into this promo, and it was good to see. And she talks about how she's pregnant. She's had a high-risk pregnancy, so she can't wrestle. And then the Bellas come out, and they start making fun of her for being like a bigger woman. And Karma's like, when I come back, I have a new dream, and that's to take you guys out. So she kind of has a program set up for her already when she comes back. The whole, them making fun of Karma kind of works in their favor, I guess. As to the movie they just released with Randy Orton, the whole message is stop bullying, stop bullying. So it's kind of weird to see this, especially the Bellas, because in the commercial they're like, don't bully, be a star. And then they bully Karma. So I guess it's okay if you're a WWE superstar. These rules don't apply to you. Next we had Jack Swagger versus Evan Bourne. I think it was a rematch from last week. Bourne won. It was a good match. So they're going to keep continuing this feud. Next we had R-Truth versus Cena. It wasn't really a match. As much as it was R-Truth just getting out of the ring and just teasing Cena. Eventually, R-Truth was in the crowd. Cena chases after him. R-Truth decks him. He runs back in the ring and gets the count-out victory. So R-Truth wins. And then he goes into the crowd again, and he throws a soda into the father of the family that he was antagonizing in the beginning of the show. So it was cool to see. Raw was good. Check out CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, and Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler. Next we have TNA Impact. Impact was okay. I didn't like the beginning. I'll get to that. It started out with ODB and Velvet brawling backstage, and then in the crowd, and then finally in the ring. And this went on forever. It felt like forever. And I don't mean to sound sexist, but it sucked that it was women, If it was AJ Styles and Bully Ray, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. Sting, Anderson, no problem. But, yeah. I don't mean to sound sexist, but, yeah. It was pretty bad. And then Mr. Anderson comes out just like Sting. Says he's going to face one of Sting's storied rivals. Bischoff comes out. He calls out Beer Money. He says since Rude is injured and can't compete at Slammiversary, they should forfeit their titles. Rude said he's going to compete. Alex Shelley comes out and he's like, Chris Sabin's injured for the rest of the year. So I don't have a tag team partner. Let me fill in for Robert Roode. So at Slammiversary, it's going to be James Storm and Alex Shelley against, wait for it, the British Invasion. What the fuck? What is the last thing the British Invasion have done to even deserve a title shot? When the fuck is the last time they appeared on Impact? Mexican America. It should be Mexican America that gets tag team title shot. They haven't appeared since their pay-per-view victory at Sacrifice. So I think they should be in this place, but whatever. Next we have Matt Hardy and Crimson. This was a good match, like really good match. Crimson wins, and Samoa Joe comes to attack Crimson after the match, and as soon as he gets in the ring, he just gets fucking speared. Like he didn't do anything. He just, as soon as he's in the ring, he's down. I didn't really like that. Maybe Joe could have hit a move or something. They could have brawled a little bit. Whatever. Next we have Miss Tessmacher versus Angelina Love. Angelina Love wins. Angelina's going to challenge Mickie James for the Knockouts title at Slammiversary. I don't know why. You would think it was Velvet Sky since she beat Angelina and Winter in a handicap match. But let's give title shots to the losers. It's great. They're doing a great start. First, you got Abyss. He got an X Division title shot after he lost at Sacrifice. Angelina Love, she's going to get a Knockouts title shot after she lost in a handicap match. And she had... and Velvet had the handicap. So if TNA wants to continue this streak of having losers face champions, I got it, TNA. I got it. Bring in Shark Boy. I don't think he's won a match since 2007, 2008. He's perfect. He's fucking perfect. So next pay-per-view, you have Shark Boy versus Mr. Anderson or Sting. That's money. That's money right there. Next, we have Mr. Anderson, dressed like Sting, versus Eric Young, dressed like the Great Muta. They had an okay match. Gunner comes out to distract Eric Young, or distract the referee, and then Eric Young spits mist into Anderson's eyes, and he pins him. I would have rather had Anderson just beat the fucking shit out of Eric Young and like bloody him up, and then Sting makes a save. You had your number one contender for the world title just lose. Like, that was so fucking dumb. Yeah, I thought the way, if they did it my way, he would have had more steam, more of a heel. But, yeah, Anderson loses to Eric Young. Anderson and Gunner beat up Eric Young after the match. And then Sting makes the save, but he walks out. Like last week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link last week's episode in an annotation. Next we have Kazarian versus Brian Kendrick. This was a really good match. They wrestled to a 10-minute time limit. It didn't feel like 10 minutes. And then the fans asked for 5 more minutes. The ref says okay. As soon as the bell rang, fucking Abyss comes out and takes out everybody. So I think they're going to do a triple threat at Slammiversary. Next we have AJ Styles and Bully Ray. They talk some shit to each other, and then AJ challenges Bully Ray to a last man standing match at Slammiversary. Next we have Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner versus Kurt Angle and Matt Morgan. This was an okay match. The end was stupid as fuck, though. You have Angle, Jeff Jarrett. They're brawling at the top of the ramp. And then Karen comes out. And then they, like, fall to the side of the stage. And there's, like, a fucking... what's it called? A staircase. And apparently Karen just fucking fell, took a left turn, or a right turn, and fell down all these goddamn stairs. Oh, so goddamn stupid. So the ref was occupied with that, so Steiner hits a low blow and his finisher on Morgan for the win. Last but not least, we have Bischoff and Hogan. They come out. Bischoff was served with papers in the beginning of the show from the network. And he thinks it's like the network's going to fire him and Hogan. But it fires Mick Foley, and this is legit. Mick Foley is gone from TNA. That was my alarm. I'll talk about this more when I get to the news section. But overall, Impact was okay. Next we have Impact, or SmackDown. And SmackDown was a good show as well, you know. A lot of good wrestling. Some good wrestling this week. First we have Christian and Mark Henry. They have an okay match. Christian wins after the match. He says he should have won the number one contenders match last week. And Teddy Long's like, you can be the special referee with Orton versus Sheamus. And next we have Alicia Fox and Tamina versus AJ Lee and Caitlyn. This is a rematch from last week. They're doing a storyline where Natalya is mentoring AJ and Caitlyn. So Alicia Fox and Tamina beat them again. And Michael Cole makes this funny comment at the end. Some of you will get it, some of you won't. Good thing, what did he say? Good thing Natalya isn't running the dungeon. I thought this was fucking hilarious. As you know, Natalya is the Heart Dungeon. Go look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Next we have Cody Rhodes. He cuts a promo saying he didn't lose to Daniel Bryan last week, and everyone in the crowd is ugly. Next we have Jinder Mahal versus Yoshitatsu. This was pretty much a match to make Jinder Mahal look good. It was okay. I think his finisher, he needs a new finisher. The finisher that he's going to use is a full Nelson slam. It looks extremely weak. Like, I don't see you hitting that on Kane and beating him with it. It's so fucking dumb. It was probably the worst finisher besides Wade Barrett's. Those finishers, oh man, they suck dick. So Jinder Mahal, he beats Yoshitatsu, and then Kali attacks Yoshi after the match. Next we have Ezekiel versus Wade Barrett for the IC Championship. This was going okay. Wade Barrett's really good. He's been having some good matches lately with Ezekiel, and makes Ezekiel look half decent. Wade Barrett gets counted out, and then Gabriel and Slater attack Ezekiel after the match. Eventually, it seems like they're going to do a no DQ, no count-out match, and that's where Ezekiel will win the IC title. Because that's how he's been winning, by DQ and by count-out. So, yeah, that's about it. Next, we got Daniel Bryan versus Ted DiBiase. Really good match. They gave this like 10 minutes. It was a good match. These guys, it was great. I loved it. I suggest you watch this. It was amazing. I loved it. Daniel Bryan wins, and after the match, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase attack Daniel Bryan, and then Sin Cara makes a save. There's a backstage segment with Johnny Curtis. He talks about winning NXT and how his pro, he's supposed to get a tag team title shot with him, but his pros are truth, so there's probably not going to be a tag team title shot. And then he has a container of milk in a bowl, and he makes the metaphor of crying over spilt milk, and then he pours milk into a bowl and then drops it and just fucking dumps it all over him. I thought it was kind of weird. I'd rather him chug it. Just chug the whole fucking gallon of milk. But whatever. I'll talk about this later. Randy Orton versus Sheamus, really good match. After the match, Christian turns heel and nails Orton with the title belt, and then he walks off with it. I'm kind of hesitant. I love Christian as a heel. I love him as a face. I love Christian. He's just a great wrestler. But there's not a lot of faces on SmackDown. You have Orton, Daniel Bryan, Sin Cara, Ezekiel Jackson. That's about it. And Kane. Kane's on SmackDown too. And possibly Johnny Curtis eventually. But the heels, like, you got Christian, Sheamus, Mark Henry, Great Khali, Jinder Mahal, Ted DiBiase, Cody Rhodes. There's just so many more. The core, like, fuck, there's so many heels and not a lot of faces. So yeah, maybe they could have held off on that, but whatever. So SmackDown was good. I recommend you watch it. Yeah, it was just a good show. Just some good wrestling. And yeah. So now time for the news. WWE signs Averno to work with Sin Cara. Averno, does he work with AAA or CMLL? Maybe you guys can leave it in the comments. But he's coming up on like his final match, a mask versus hair match. And after that, supposedly he's gonna come into WWE, work with Sin Cara. Those should be some good Lucha Libre matches, as they've had matches in the past. And yeah, that's about it. But it's kind of dumb. WWE wants Sin Cara to learn the WWE style, but he's not going to learn that with someone who doesn't know the WWE style. So it's kind of counterproductive, but hopefully Sin Cara can shine from these matches. Next, we got the new WWE video game, which I think comes out in October or November. Will no longer be called SmackDown vs. Raw. It'll just be referred to as WWE and whatever year it is. So this year it'll be WWE 2012. That's cool. It's kind of dumb that it was called SmackDown vs. Raw, because you had ECW for a long time, and it was SmackDown vs. Raw featuring ECW. So the name never worked. I'm glad they changed it. Yeah, that's about it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'd like the general manager mode back. I love that mode in past games, where you're general manager, you get to draft your own roster, you book your own shows. Like, I love that. That was awesome. And they took it out, but whatever. What else? Oh, China. So she just did a porno, and I watched the trailer for it, and it looks okay. I mean, there are some other porn stars in it. There's a couple hot chicks in there. I'm not talking about China, though. There's 2 other hot chicks in there. So it does have potential to be kind of good. But yeah, the trailer was the trailer to her porno was okay. Yeah, and apparently TNA and her had a dispute. Like, if her porn tape did come out, they threatened that she'll never work in TNA again. But TNA loves to hire everybody if you can bring publicity to their fucking. Actually, they don't like publicity, because they bring in the stupidest fucking celebrities. Oh my god, TNA and their celebrity bring-ins, horrible. Let me mention a few. Jenna Maraska had one of the worst pay-per-view matches with Sharmell. And Pac-Man Jones, former TNA Tag Team Champion. So TNA doesn't know how to use celebrities. I don't consider China a celebrity, but for them to say that they'll never bring her back because of this porno is ridiculous. Oh, and the chick from Jersey Shore, Angelina. Oh man, brutal. And last but not least, the Mick Foley is gone from TNA. Apparently he had creative differences with TNA. Like, he did some charity work and he wanted it to be featured. TNA didn't do that. So yeah, I don't really care that Mick Foley's gone. You didn't belong. Like, you came in pretty much to work with Abyss, and that was it. And that match sucked donkey dick. Holy fuck, was that a bad match. Oh, is that a Bound for Glory? It was so fucking bad. Oh my god, it was ridiculous, horrible. Yeah, so Mick Foley's gone. He made a comment, like, really really negative comment about TNA. Something about His empty arena match against The Rock is like a TNA house show, referring to TNA house shows are empty and no one goes. That's pretty bad, especially if that's the company you work for. You're not gonna fucking, you're just gonna fucking bring him down like that. Like, that's very unprofessional. But I don't know what goes on back there, so I only comment on what I read, and that's what I know. So that's it for this week. Tell me if you like the gameplay. I don't really like TNA the video game. I think it sucks. The controls suck dick. I actually have to play this. Like WWE, I can just put the wrestlers in and record. TNA, I actually have to play. It's pretty brutal. So please say you don't want to see it, and I'll start doing more WWE and stuff. Give me match suggestions. Leave them in the comments. What matches do you want to see? And that's about it. See you guys next week. Take care. Spike your hair. How many of you guys know that reference?